Hi, ArcfieldWeather.com meteorologist Paul Dorian here on Tuesday morning, January the 21st. Well, a southern storm will bring snow and ice to much of the southern states from Texas to Florida to the Carolinas through late tonight into early tomorrow morning. Big story, of course, in addition to the southern winter storm, the bitter cold really extending this morning from coast to coast. We've had very, very cold weather throughout the nation on Monday, and it will continue that way today. These 2 days will turn out to be some of the coldest days in a long, long time across the nation as a whole if you take the average temperature from coast to coast. This is a map from coolweather.com that shows near record or even record lows this morning. All these blue dots where you see the white circle around represents a particular location that is breaking the daily low temperature record. And the amazing part about this is, again, the extent of the cold. Here we have way in the eastern part of Massachusetts this morning, and you can see all the way out to the northwestern coastal regions in the state of Washington breaking record lows, and all the way down south into Louisiana breaking records for the day. So again, virtually from coast to coast, some very, very cold conditions this morning. And of course, we'll focus in on the winter storm that will cross to the east and impact Texas, already impacting Texas, Louisiana, all the way to the northern part of Florida, and then right along the Carolina coastline, significant snow and ice in some places. Well, before we focus in on that southern storm, here is another look at the temperatures right now. The previous map from coolweather.com, this too from coolweather.com, shows a contour of the temperatures across the nation. And just want to point out, this is the zero line right here, just in north and west of Philly. It was in the low single digits in the Philly suburbs this morning. Upstate, below zero. And you can track this line, and it is just a wide part of the nation here, especially across the northern states where temperatures are below zero. That's not the freezing line. This is the below zero line. Again, upstate PA, in some cases well below zero. We have, of course, freezing temperatures all the way down to the Gulf of Mexico this morning, and that, of course, is playing a role in the winter storm that will bring snow and ice from Texas to Florida to the Carolinas right through tonight. Well, here's a look at the radar from WSI's and telecast.com. The blue, of course, shows areas of snow, and again, there's snow falling throughout southeastern Texas, much of Louisiana, even some reports of covered ground already in Louisiana. That will extend all the way into the Panhandle region of Florida over the next several hours, and in some cases there will be some significant icing as well. Ultimately, that snow extends all the way to the eastern sections of Georgia, South and North Carolina. Quite an amazing winter storm, to say the least. It's not totally unprecedented. We'll see how this shakes out from a historical point of view. In some areas, indeed, it very well could end up being the biggest snow event in portions of Louisiana, for example, in the past 100 years or so. Now, in terms of the cold air outbreak, may recall late January 1986, unfortunately associated with the shuttle disaster. There were freezing temperatures on that particular morning all the way down to the central Florida coastline, helping to contribute to icy conditions at Cape Kennedy right before that launch of the shuttle. Again, that was late January 1986, so it's not unprecedented to see freezing temperatures way down there. It is rare, though, indeed. And for a storm system to produce snow and ice over this wide of an area, very rare weather event indeed. And also notice a little bit of snow activity right now over the Great Lakes. There is kind of an upper level disturbance that will move south and east today, and it can cause some snow shower activity even into portions of the Mid-Atlantic region later today into tonight. Well, one last map before we take a look at the 0Z run of the GFS. This is NOAA's weather warnings map across the nation, and you just don't see this too often. All of this in light blue and dark blue or purple here represent cold temperature type warnings, either freeze warnings, extreme wind chills, and of course all of this winter storm warnings all the way from Texas to Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, South and North Carolina. And some of that can extend later today into the southeastern part of Virginia. This area of moisture will basically move east-northeast and produce snow and ice along its path all the way into northern Florida and the Carolina coastline. And certainly there can be some snow later today into early tonight across southeastern Virginia. It does not make it any farther to the north and west of there for this southern storm. But again, there can be some snow showers across portions of the Mid-Atlantic region later today into tonight from an upper level disturbance. But just a tremendous wintry look to this in terms of the NOAA's weather warnings across the nation here on Tuesday, January 21st. Well, let's take a look here at last night's zero-Z run of the GFS, starting with this morning, 7 a.m. forecast for this morning, the 21st of January. Let me just change the cursor here. And we're seeing colors that you don't normally see way down here across the Texas coastline, Louisiana coastline. These pinks and purples represent areas of sleet or freezing rain, and blue, of course, snow. Snowing in Houston right now, snowing throughout much of Louisiana. And again, some of those areas, they may end up getting more snow than seen in a single storm in over 100 years. By the way, I failed to point out with that weather warnings map, there are blizzard warnings right here across portions of southern Louisiana. Of course, all of these areas do not use snow plows too often, so any kind of snow will cause roads to become pretty much impassable for quite a while here. But again, even blizzard warnings on the map this morning across portions of southern Louisiana. We'll move forward and we'll watch all of this expand to the east, northeast, and ultimately impact much of the Carolinas and into the southeastern part of Virginia. And here it goes. It just continues amazingly. The Panhandle of Florida, snow and ice. And again, this is accumulating snow in many places here. Continues off to the north and east. Could be significant ice and icing across portions of northern Florida. Tallahassee, snow and ice. And this is impacting cities like Houston, Lake Charles, Baton Rouge down there in New Orleans, all the way to Tallahassee, and ultimately all the way to places like Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Wintry storm, wintry precipitation. The blues again representing snow, and it can extend all the way up into southeastern Virginia later today into tonight. Even the southern portions of the Delmarva Peninsula and perhaps the southern tip of New Jersey, places like Cape May, can get a little bit of snow out of this, but no farther north or west than that. Again, there can be a few snow showers later today into tonight. And then the bitter cold conditions just continue right for the next couple of days throughout much of the nation. Again, much of PA, for example, below zero. Just to the from Philly north and west, single digits. That will be the case again tomorrow morning and perhaps even the next morning. We're not quite done by any means with this cold, bitter cold stretch that extends from coast to coast here. Then we'll kind of move forward towards the next couple of threats, and I think there will be a system off the coast that pretty much stays off the coast at the end of this week, and we'll move into the early part of next week or the latter part of the weekend. There will be a system to watch here that'll start to form later Sunday into Sunday night, and it will move farther and farther to the north and east into that cold air mass that is still going to be in place. Perhaps not the bitter cold that we're experiencing now, but sufficiently cold to help produce the possibility of some snow across the Midwest into the Mid-Atlantic region by the time we get to late Sunday, Sunday night, early Monday time frame. So this is after this winter storm passes through the southeastern part of the nation. This is the next storm to really track later in the weekend, early part of next week. So a lot going on in the world of weather. Certainly a news-making event here with this Arctic outbreak that has enveloped the whole nation from coast to coast. We're seeing either record lows or near record lows. Of course, accumulating snow and ice from Texas to Florida to the Carolinas. Amazing outbreak indeed. That's it for now. For ArcticWeather.com, this has been meteorologist Paul Dorian.